Our next guest has followed a very interesting path when it comes to health care. Republican David Jolly successfully ran for Congress on a staunch anti-Obamacare platform until he found himself in a totally different position, unemployed and suffering from a pre-existing condition. Former Congressman of Florida, David Jolly, is now with us first on Fox Business. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, good to be with you, Liz. You got it.
In 2014, you won re-election with, this was unbelievable, 75% of the vote in a district that Barack Obama had won twice. Tell us what happened in your world between then and now that triggered a shift in the way you see Obamacare today.
Well, I think the point I've been making is this. In 2013, when I first ran for office, understand the anxiety over Obamacare. It was people who were losing their premiums, premiums were going up. They were losing their plans and their doctors. Recall it was called the lie of the year, that you could keep your plan. Those were the politics of 2013, and the beneficiaries hadn't yet realized that they would have more affordable care and they would have Medicaid expansion, pre-existing conditions would be covered. By 2017, those benefits of Obamacare have settled into the body politic, and my warning to Republicans is whatever bill they proffer in the next week is going to be measured against those protections in Obamacare. The politics of Obamacare in 2017 are very different than they were in 2013.
I can imagine, because people get used to something, not all of it. You know, President Obama said this is a starter house, it needs to be tweaked. But talk about your personal experience here with insurance once you left what a lot of people feel is a very generous health care plan for members of Congress.
Sure. So prior to Congress, I had an employee-based plan. I also had a small business, and so I went through the rockiness of Obamacare. I then was elected to Congress. First time I'd ran for anything, and we do have a cost-share employer-employee plan. January 4th, I was unemployed and had to look at the marketplace for what are my coverage options. And I do suffer from a pre-existing condition. I have been turned down for life insurance policies, and no doubt I would be turned down for health insurance, but for the protection in Obamacare to cover pre-existing conditions. Look, there are three constituencies in any health care bill. There is the stable, low to medium risk private sector constituency. There are those who need a financial assistance, and then there are those who have health care conditions or are high-risk patients. Mitch McConnell was right. That first group has seen premiums go up, and Donald Trump is arguing we need to fix Obamacare for them. But the Democrats are right saying we can't roll back protections for those who need financial assistance or coverage of risky conditions.
So why can't they find somewhere in the middle? And by the way, Paul Ryan, the House Speaker, has been very clear that pre-existing conditions, at least in the GOP bill, will be covered.
So the question is, how do you pay for those? What Obamacare did is it put everybody in the same risk pool, essentially. And so your healthier, stable families had to essentially subsidize a market for high-risk patients.
Well, so somebody has to come forth with the money, Representative Jolly. Who? Because they don't want to tax the wealthier people who are the recipients. So where will that money to keep Medicare in, Medicaid rather, I'm sorry, but to keep that in for the states who desperately want it?
Well, listen, the economics of private sector health care are broken. We know that. Unless we're going to embrace cost controls of private sector health care, we know the economics are broken. What I have said is remove the high-risk patients from the private sector pool. Let's address the pre-existing condition problem by early enrolling individuals in a Medicare program that includes a cost share, but we know they're covered. There's a safety net that only government can provide in that situation, but it removes that high-risk community of patients from the traditional pool. That then allows the private sector market to offer more options, stabilize prices, and drive down prices.
I've got one final question. If you were still in Congress, either a senator or a House member, would you vote, certainly for what the GOP House has already come through with? Would you vote for that?
Absolutely not, because measured against the current reach of coverage under Obamacare, it fails that test. And listen, the Senate should offer their bill next week, but don't vote on it. I've always made the case, go home and sell it to the American people. Liz, point to a senator that's actually tried to sell this bill to the American people. They're just trying to sell it to each other right now. And so they're going to pass it before the American people ever realize what's in it. And we saw when that happened on the Democratic side. Republicans are repeating history right now.
Former GOP Congressman David Jolly, I think this is an extraordinary perspective, and we're going to put this up on foxbusiness.com, lizclayman.com, facebook.com/Liz Clayman, because I think, you know, we sent congressional members there to D.C. to get something done. And if that means crossing the lines and at least kind of shifting a little bit like you have, I find that very interesting. Thank you, sir. Come back again.
Great to be with you.
Closing.